me again. I'm back. I got it. This video came about because I got a question in my inbox from Stargazer Virgo 87, and I believe this is in response to my video that I did yesterday on Ouija boards, and she's asking me how I feel about pendulums. This is my dog. If you ever seen my other videos and I'm yelling at my dog, stop doing that. This is who I'm yelling at. This is the Bella. This is Bella. This is my Bella witch. My good girl. So Stargazer Virgo 87 asked my thoughts on pendulums, because in my last video I was not anti-Ouija boards, but kind of very wary of them. I do use tarot cards. I believe tarot cards are my primary sorts of divination at this point. I have used runes and I have used stones, but just at this point in my life, tarot cards are the primary source of divination. I do have a pendulum somewhere. I tried to find it for this video and I couldn't find it, but I do have one. So, alright. So a little bit, okay, so a pendulum. It's a simple tool. I think it's the simplest, the easiest tool to use when you, I think it's great for people that are just starting out in divination. It's used for communicating, getting guidance from the spiritual world. Like I said, I think it's one of the easiest methods of divination, and it's 10 times, if not 100 times more accurate and secure than a Ouija board. A pendulum, you're asking questions with intent. You're asking questions from either a spiritual guide, the divine itself, whereas in a Ouija board, you're just sitting in front of this board with your hands on the whatever that thing's called, the guide or whatever, and you just start asking questions a lot of the times. So you don't really know who's answering you, if they can be trusted or if they're really safe to talk to. Like I said before, a Ouija board is a form of voluntary possession. So you're allowing anybody, any entity to come in, and you're allowing them access to your free will, pretty much. With a pendulum, you're asking questions, but you've already put out the intent that you're asking questions of a specific spiritual guide, of the divine, of whoever that you're needing help from, if that makes sense. When used for divination, pendulums act as an antenna that amplifies signals or energy vibrations emanating from the spiritual guide or the divine energies that you've called upon. And these vibrations focus their attention on the pendulum and cause it to move in specific directions, giving you answers and guidance to the questions that you've put to the tool. So when you're going out to, if you made the decision to get a pendulum, I myself am a very good advocate of crafting your own tools as much as possible. And only because, you want a pendulum, and you go to the store and you pick the perfect pendulum, but that pendulum, you don't know how long that pendulum has been sitting out on the store's shelf. You don't know who's been touching that pendulum. You don't know who has been around that pendulum, and as a result giving off negative or positive energy. That pendulum is going to absorb that energy. So when you get it, you have to cleanse it, you have to charge it, you have to make sure that that pendulum that you purchased is safe for you to use in the questions and intentions that you need it to work with you for. Whereas if you make a pendulum, you have the ability to control your emotions while you're making that pendulum. You have the ability to infuse that pendulum with your intent, and again, your positive energy, so that when the pendulum is done and you've finished constructing that pendulum is, as a result, constructed specifically for you. Get it? Makes sense, right? So once you've picked out a pendulum, it's attractive, you feel drawn to it, you're not gonna just go to your car and start playing with the pendulum. This is a divination tool which must and should be treated with respect and reverence, just as you would a deck of cards, tarot cards. And as with any divination tool, there's a proper place, time, and way to use this tool to get the best results that you're looking for. Just like any other divination tool, once you've gotten home, with your pendulum, you would prepare your ritual space just as you would for any spiritual work. Open your session with a brief prayer for protection, guidance, calling in your spirit guide and for guidance. Explain what you're doing, what you want to accomplish, and what information that you're seeking. Next, you'll need to not program, but let's just say make an agreement with your pendulum for which movement means what. Some do call this programming your pendulum. I prefer the term making an agreement, because the agreement is really between you and the forces that will provide movement to the tool, thus answering your questions. It's just a slight sensitivity that I have to that, and you might feel otherwise. I just feel like I'm telling a spiritual entity that I'm going to program their free will. You program a phone, a computer. You don't program spiritual entities. You get it? So once you set your space, your protection, called your guides, define the agreement upon, movements of the pendulum, now you're ready to start asking questions. And you want to phase them so that the responses can be given in simple yes or no questions. Yes and no answers are self-explanatory. Yes. We all know what yes means. We all know what no means. Maybes imply the energy patterns are not yet set for some decisions. And some decisions still need to be made before the outcome can be fully determined. If you receive a do not want to answer, DWA, then the answer to the question can be altered after a spiritual or karmic lesson that you have to learn. Or it's just simply none of your business. DWAs are most often received when you're asking questions about other people. So in other words, you're being nosy. If you're asking this question about another person, you're being nosy. And your spiritual guides will tell you it's none of your business. They want to answer that. Probably yes. Means as things stand right now, it whatever you asked will probably happen, or is probably yes. And probably no just means the opposite of that. Once you've completed your reading, you want to, make sure that, just like with your tarot cards, you want to place the pendulum in a protective pouch. Say a prayer of thanks and close the energies you've pulled in from this ceremony. Then, snuff out your candles and clean up your ritual space as normal. You're gonna when I do work with my pendulum, I do create a circle, just like I do with any kind of ritual. And after I'm done, I do close the circle. Just for a little extra extra help there with that. So, are pendulums safer than the Ouija boards? Yes, I think so. I really do think so. Because like I said, you're not just in a spiritual chat room and just asking questions for anybody to come and answer. You are, in fact, using the pendulum as, it's communication. You're asking your spiritual guide to move the pendulum, to answer a yes or no question. I just think it's a lot more secure than an Ouija board, I think. Yeah, so I don't know. That's just my take on pendulums. It goes to say a lot that I have a pendulum, so it's, I feel like it's a lot more safer than an Ouija board. So, that's my answer. Hope it made sense. Hope it wasn't babbling. It probably was. But thank you for the question, Stargazer. I loved it. Thank you. And if anyone has any more questions, if you have a video response, that'd be great too. I would love to hear everybody's response to that. I like hearing other people's explanations for things, and I get my knowledge from that as well. So, that's my video. You've met my dog. So we're going to say, blessed be everyone. Have a good day.